Folks, good morning. I'm trying to think of all the things that Kanye West said about black folks over the years that was so insulting to us as a people. But, we give them some slack. First of all, he started to wear that Trump hat. The MAGA hat when Trump was running. So a couple of months ago, as part of his show, he had his models wear this White Lives Matter t-shirt, and of course, he was going to make a profit off of it because he was going to sell those t shirts. And that was only one thing that popped into my mind. And then I started to think of when he said slavery was a choice. Like if black people had a choice to come over here in America and all over the world, the West Indies, Caribbean, etc. Like if we had a choice, we brought ourselves to those lands, okay? And then I think the straw that broke the camel's back was when he said George Floyd did not have a knee on his neck. And what killed him was the fentanyl overdose. When the coroner ruled that it was asphyxiation, that yes, because the blood supply was cut off from his brain. He suffocated, he died that way. It was, of course, he had the fentanyl in his system, but was not enough to kill him. That was the ruling by the coroner's office. So for Kanye to get out there and make this statement, it was so ludicrous that the family was so insulted, George Floyd's family, that they said, you know what, we're taking you to court for slander. So I don't know what turned in Kanye's mind. But he's been saying all kinds of negative things against the black community for a while now. And now he wants the black community to embrace him because he's losing all this money. He has lost $2 billion or more. And now he wants the black community to now rally to his cause because he's losing so much money, which would have put him in that elite group of being a billionaire, like Jay-Z and P. Diddy. So now he feels we should rally around him and support him. I don't know if it's going to happen. That's left to be seen. So there are two black guys, Ramses Jah and Quinton Ward, and they have a radio program by the name of Civic Cipher. And on their program, they discuss all kinds of issues concerning civil rights. And they were given the trademark to the phrase or the slogan, White Lives Matter, which is going to stop Kanye's bag. He can't sell those t-shirts with the White Lives slogan on the t-shirts. Remember, he had a fashion show with the White Lives Matter. People were supposed to go buy the t-shirts with the slogan on it. That's going to stop that bag also. It's a given that all lives matter. And of course, Black Lives Matter. But that was not the issue. So for Kanye and Candace Owen to minimize the issue of Black Lives Matter was very insulting to black people because the group Black Lives Matter speaks on the behalf of all black people about our pain, our suffering that we go through in America every day. And we don't have a voice. We don't have a forum. We don't have anyone to go to speak about our pain. So this group, when they came out, they encapsulated exactly how we felt. And this is why we embrace the Black Lives Matter organization, because it speaks to our pain. As you all know, that came about because black people were being killed so indiscriminately in the streets of America, all across the board, all across America. And no one was saying anything. The news was reporting some events, but no one was doing anything about it and bringing awareness to our plight. And so emerged the Black Lives Matter movement to bring awareness that when it comes to black lives in this country, it's like nobody cares. It doesn't matter. This is going all the way back to slavery, where we are invisible when it comes to our lives. Black people had the biggest Holocaust on planet Earth. Over 20 million people killed not only through slavery, but the genocides in Africa when white Europeans went into Africa to steal the land and colonize 99% of Africa. Only Ethiopia was spared because they had to fight for the freedom and they won. But this goes all the way back then. And what is happening and has happened in America is just part of that bigger system that is still going on. Slavery has been abolished, but it's still occurring in other ways. Like when black men are being gunned down on the streets of America and the cops are the ones doing the killing. When you can pull out your taser and it actually was a gun and you say you mistakenly pull your taser out and shot a young black man who posed no threat to you because he didn't have a gun in cold blood. And then you say you thought it was a taser, and everybody knows a taser feels different, it looks different, so there's no way that that can be mistaken. When those types of things happen, then you see where black people's lives in America means nothing to the authorities, to the cops. So this is how this group came about. Okay, to speak on black people's behalf. No, I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is the absolute truth and these are the facts. So I had a young lady who said she wasn't going to subscribe to me anymore because all lives matter. And I said to her, that's your prerogative. All lives does matter, but you don't know the history about black people, obviously. So emerged, out of necessity, the Black Lives Matter movement. So fast forward into today, two black men who are hosts to Civic Cipher radio program who said they were anonymously given the task of protecting the White Lives Matter slogan so that no one can use it for hate. Now, these two guys are from Arizona. They're two black radio hosts. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be another controversial issue. So here again are the two radio hosts from Civic Cipher Radio, and their names again are Ramses Jaw and Quinton Ward.
The Anti-Defamation League called it a hate slogan, and it most recently popped up on T-shirts designed by Kanye West.
So these radio hosts trademarked the phrase. Ramses Jaw and Quinton Ward host the nationally syndicated weekly racial justice radio show Civic Cipher, and they join us now. Gentlemen, great to see you. So, Ramses, let me start with you. What do you plan to do with this trademark of White Lives Matter?
Well, at present, we plan to do nothing. Nothing is plenty, as you can imagine. We have lawyers advising us on how to best protect the trademark. So it will not be used to hurt, harm, trigger any people. And as long as we are the people in the position to decide how it is used in commerce, we will do our best to minimize the effect that it may have on people.
So, Quinton, just explain that. So you by design don't plan to do anything with it, and that means that nobody else can. Is that the point?
At present, yes. We and just to make it clear, we didn't purchase or pursue the mark. It was actually assigned to us by one of our listeners.
So one of your listeners got the trademark and anonymously, as I understand it, gave it to you.
What I think is so fascinating about this, gentlemen, is, and I want to jump in here, what's so fascinating about this is, for black people don't realize that, you have the right to trademark certain phrases in connection with a product in particular. And what was so ingenious, I think, about this original notion was that if you trademark something, then obviously it cannot be used by other people. You've got to obviously police that and make sure it's not being used. But it was the goal that I think is so fascinating that everyone needs to know about, because you were a little bit concerned about being able to, and others being able to exploit this particular phrase, being able to profit off of it. And that was really the driving force of, why it was assigned, why it was given in the first place. But speak to us a little bit about why it's so important to you to have this not be able to be profited off of in the time we're in.
Yeah, I'll go first. So it's really about controlling who can profit from it. Again, we have to be very careful about the language here, because
he said that trademarks are a little tricky.
In terms of how it feels to be at the helm of this moment, I can say that it feels good to see people's reaction to it, to see people feel like they have a reason to smile. You know, the past few weeks have been heavy for a lot of people, been triggering for a lot of people. And so that feels good. And again, we're going to do right by folks.
And when you think about it, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Q, go ahead.
I was going to say, seeing that phrase on a t-shirt, like imagine, I'd like to paint a picture, sitting on your porch and someone walking up to your home with a Confederate flag over one shoulder, a Trump flag over the other shoulder, Make America Great Again hat on, a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter on the front, and that says slavery was a choice on the back. And imagine that person holding a bullhorn and saying through it, George Floyd was not killed by police, but he died from a drug overdose. Imagine how that would make you feel, and then explain to me why I should feel different because the person wearing all of that stuff is a creative genius.
And I think that was so poignant, because that's why Kanye was getting a pass, not only from the black community, but from the white community, because he's considered a creative genius. But, you know, enough is enough. At some point, someone has to rein that big fat mouth in. And I guess he's paying for it by the billions of dollars that he's losing. So make no mistakes about it, folks. The fact that Ja and Ward ended up owning the rights to the brand of White Lives Matter is no coincidence, folks. That was, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that was meant to further stop Kanye's bag. Okay, they want him dead broke. Because under that brand, White Lives Matter, he was supposed to sell his t-shirts. And now he can't. Well, he can actually. But he would be a fool to do so, because these guys can now go after him and file a lawsuit against him for copyright infringement, for using their brand without permission. So here is Ja and Ward continuing their interview.
I mean, so yeah, the picture you paint is really important, right, Allison? The idea of why, and as that point, I mean, so many people have been asked to compartmentalize based on what you've said. The idea of it's okay as long as it's somebody who is not white who's wearing it, or somebody is able to be applauded for a very different aspect of his life. That's most important to you, to be able to remove the opportunity to capitalize on that.
Exactly. Again, we feel like, in fact, it's well documented that the term White Lives Matter rose up in opposition to the affirmation that Black Lives Matter. It has never been in question whether or not white lives have mattered in this country. It's a given. We know that. Everyone knows that. We felt in our community that we needed to say Black Lives Matter, particularly after the death of Trayvon Martin. And so, again, these other matter terms and phrases have rose up in opposition to that, to weaken the message, to dilute the movement, and to just be contradictory in nature, to give other people talking points in a conversation when the phrase was originally intended to affirm our lives having value. And so, again, being at the helm of something like this, being able to be the decider, feels very important. It's among the heaviest things that we've had to do as radio hosts of a civil, a social justice radio show that we do because we believe in the greater good of all people. We believe that we can come together across cultural lines, racial lines, tribal lines, and have conversations and really grow. That's at the heart of everything we're trying to do. And we believe that the maneuver that or rather the position that we've taken, will yield the most good for the most people that's our hope, and we're going to do our best to do right by everyone.
And so, Quentin, very quickly, that picture that you painted of, how sort of off-putting it was, what's your message to Kanye West, or Ye as he goes by, and Candace Owens, who are the ones who wore those t-shirts so publicly?
I'm actually glad you asked that question, because a lot of people who see the headline and the picture assume that we have some personal beef or problem with Kanye West or Ye, and we don't, right? We just don't like the hurt that comes from that message, whether it be intentional or not, and we're just trying to limit as much as we can the amount of people that have to relive trauma or be triggered or feel pain from a message that had such negative intentions.
So, folks, this is my takeaway. The person who anonymously trademarked the slogan, White Lives Matter, and passed on the rights to these two guys, these two radio personalities, I think was clearly sending a message. Now, we don't know if the anonymous person was black or white, because as we well know, there are a lot of white people in the community at large who support a lot of black issues, minority issues, but they don't want to come forth and show their faces because they would be ostracized in their own communities for doing the right thing. So this anonymous person who acquired the rights to the slogan and passed it on to these two guys wanted to make sure no one profited from it and no one got hurt by it. And I guess he or she thought it was a good idea to pass it on for these two guys to hold the rights to it, because they are involved in this civil justice radio program. And they're supposed to be fair and impartial and not use the slogan to hurt the white nor the black community. So the anonymous donor of this slogan was clearly sending a message. And the message the donor was sending was to make sure that no one profited from it or to use it to harm others. Like when Kanye wore the White Lives Matter t-shirt, it hurt so many people who went through slavery, because in this country, there are still elderly people who remember slavery that they went through, that their parents went through, and they were children and they had to pick cotton alongside their parent. And the reason why I say parent is because during slavery, the black man and the black woman would be separated. Families would be separated, sold to different plantations. You would have a child with this man, and the man would be on the auction block, or the woman, and so that child would never see the other parent. So when the child went into the fields to pick cotton, oftentimes one of those parents were never there. And that has trickled down into the black community presently, in today's black community, where we see the household is being headed by a single female, and the man oftentimes have the child and go about his separate business, his separate ways, to have another family somewhere else and more children. That goes back to slavery, but that's another topic. So let's get back to the subject at hand. There are still people who are alive today who remember that. A lot of us remember Amadou Diallo. A lot of us remember the Confederate flag flying as a constant reminder of slavery, flying across so many cities in America. The same flag that had a knee on our necks through slavery was just recently taken down because someone dared to say it's not right that the Confederate flag should still be flying, and it stood for all the atrocities that happened to black people, not only here in America, but across the world, which was a constant reminder to black people about slavery and all the atrocities that happened for generations to black people in this country. So fast forward into today, there are two black men out in Arizona, Ramses Jaw and Quinton Ward, who are hosts of the radio program Civic Cipher Radio. And they were in the position and were assigned the task of protecting this slogan, this White Lives Matter slogan, to keep anyone from profiting off of it and to spread racial bigotry. So we pretty much know who this was targeting. It was targeting Kanye West because when he had that fashion show with White Lives Matter slogan on the t-shirts, he wanted people to buy the t-shirts. So the White Lives Matter slogan really came about to diminish the purpose of the message of the Black Lives Matter slogan, to send that positive message in the Black community. But this is what Rolling Stone had to say on the topic. So Rolling Stone magazine said, 2 Black men owns the White Lives Matter trademark, and they are the host of the popular radio show Civic Cipher. The Arizona-based radio show focuses on racial justice, revealed that as of 7 days ago, the trademark that Kanye West wanted to use, the phrase that he wanted to use in a new Yeezy line, he was going to make profit out of that phrase. In other words, they revealed that the trademark was assigned to them to protect the rights of other people, that it's not used to hurt others and for anybody to profit off of it. So folks, I guess the long arm of this anti-Semitic statement is reaching far and wide, because the individual who purchased the rights to the phrase purchased it back in 2020. That's 2 years ago. So why now that person came forth and passed on the rights to these 2 guys to stop Kanye West's bag, stop him from profiting off of this slogan? Things that make you go, So the radio show hosts Ramses Ja and Quinton Ward explained that the person who bought the rights to the trademark back in 2020, that person didn't really want to own it because it wasn't making any profit. It was just there making sure that it didn't fall into the wrong hands and people would not use it to make money off of or to hurt others with the slogan. They further stated that the owner decided to hand over the trademark to the 2 men because the owner knew that these 2 guys would not use it for profit or for any other purpose than what it's intended to be used for. And that is nothing. You're not supposed to make a profit off of it. You're not supposed to advertise it in any type of way. So going forward, anyone using that slogan now can be sued. I'm telling you folks, we're living in some very interesting times. So Ja said that realistically speaking, they cannot stop t-shirts from being printed. But what they can do is write a cease and desist to people selling t-shirts. And he further said that is a big monster that requires a team of lawyers and thousands of dollars that they do not have. So they further said if they choose to sell the trademark, they would donate the money to causes that they feel would benefit Black people. Organizations that are fighting for justice, for instance, the NAACP, as well as Black Lives Matter organizations. So pretty much they're saying if they know of any company selling the t-shirts, they would send out a cease and desist letter, get their attorneys on it. They can't fight all the battles, obviously, because it's going to require a whole lot of lawyers. But if they tackle it one organization at a time, those organizations that are selling the t-shirts, then of course they would go after the organizations. And if they were to win the case, I would imagine the proceeds would go towards organizations that are fighting for social justice, like the NAACP and Black Lives Matter groups. So Rolling Stone magazine also printed that the acquisition of the trademark comes after Kanye West and Candace Owens, along with some models, paraded with the t-shirts during the launch of Kanye West's Yeezy line. Remember, he was involved in a fashion show and he had models walk down the runway in the White Lives Matter t-shirts, and one of those models was Bob Marley's granddaughter, Lauryn Hill's daughter, and that was a huge controversy when it happened at the time. So because the Aryan Renaissance Society and the KKK have overtaken the Black Lives Matter phrase used by Black people protesting police brutality, they have reframed it. The KKK and the Aryan Renaissance Society have reframed the whole thing. They are now under this banner of White Lives Matter. It's no longer down with the Jews and down with the blacks. It's White Lives Matter. That's their new banner. So the Anti-Defamation League has categorized the phrase White Lives Matter as a hate slogan. So Ramses Ja added that Kanye West have not reached out to him or Quinton Ward or his attorneys. He further added that the Kanye West that he remembered back in 2004 and 2005 is a different Kanye today. Remember, folks, back then Kanye said George Bush don't care nothing about Black people. Remember that statement? You know, companies have been dropping Kanye left and right, and now he wanted to make money off of this trademark name, this phrase, and now he can't because two Black men own the right to the phrase now. So he would have to go to them if he wants to use it, and they already put out a statement that no one is going to use it for profit nor to hurt others. So I don't know who was behind it to trademark the name and now pass it on to these two Black men. But I'm telling you, Kanye opened up a can of whip ass on himself. Then he made that anti-Semitic remark. And now all kinds of people is stopping his bag, okay? YouTubers, I'm over and out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and to this video. Turn on the notification bell. Drop your comments in the comment section. Thank you for watching.